to unwrap the gift of life.
Hello, everyone, and a very happy April 28th, 2015. Welcome to our show. Hope everybody had a wonderful week. Last week's show featured what it takes to happen for a recipient to find a donor, and a donor to find a recipient, and how they are linked for life. On today's show, you're going to hear from donor Kayla and recipient James, who met this past Sunday at Gift of Life's first annual Boston Walk for Life. Sunday's walk was incredible. We championed it for the last 3 or 4 months, and it was worth every moment and then some. Today's show is really going to be a treat. We're going to get right to it soon, but for those of you who tuned in last show, you know that September is Blood Cancer Awareness Month. I know it's the end of April, and the Boys of Summer are playing, and who would think the Yankees, a lot of people were counting them out in the beginning of the season, and you know what? They're in first place. So good job, Pinstripes. However, only creating awareness for 1 month of blood cancer will not solve the epidemic. So we will continue to spread the word, and we ask our listeners to please do the same. Pacific Islanders are having a tough time. Hispanic people are underrepresented. Our Asian friends are underrepresented. Our African American friends are underrepresented. And I had discussion with some minority groups as soon ago as Sunday. And they're suffering the consequences of people not swabbing and, frankly, not having the knowledge to traverse the waters of how to recruit bone marrow donors. Patients suffering from these mentioned ethnicities will find a match less than 50% of the time. God forbid if they are in need. That's unacceptable, and we have to work harder. And working hard is what we're going to show you today on our show. A donor, a selfless individual, meeting her 4-year-old little boy in need and saved his life. It can be done. We need people to get involved. Please call Frederick, Corey, or John at 1-800-9-MARROW to get information on how you can get involved. Again, that's 1-800-9-MARROW. For those of you who have been our supporters, welcome back, and we thank you for all that you've done to spread awareness and transpire action for our show, and more importantly, for our cause. Because of you, we are ranked the #1 radio show on 1470 WWNN, our flagship station, as well as being the #1 bone marrow radio show worldwide. And yes, there is more than one. As previously mentioned, thanks to you, our supporters, our show is now syndicated in 6 cities. Our friends from Atlanta, welcome aboard. So more awareness, more people swabbing, more contributions, and the culmination of your help will equal more lives being saved. 2014 alone, Gift of Life Bone Marrow Foundation was responsible for saving 130 lives of patients suffering from blood cancer. Not only the lives of its patients, but the lives of the patients' loved ones, family members, and friends, bringing our total to date to about 3,000 lives saved. Tremendous job to our team at 800 Yamato Road. Give yourself a big round of applause, as well as our fans, supporters, contributors, donors, and volunteers. We couldn't have done it without a culmination of everybody's effort. As we start anew in 2015, I want to touch upon Orlean Feinberg, the matriarch of Gift of Life, who unfortunately passed away in January of 2014. Orlean had a vision. Her vision was to find a match anytime, anywhere for anyone that is suffering from blood cancer. In 2015, our goal at Gift of Life, as well as Gift of Life with Greg, is to make Orlean's vision Orlean's reality. For those people who are tuning in for the first time today, you picked a great week to join in. If this is an emotional story today, I don't know what is. Thank you for joining us at Gift of Life with Greg. I'm Greg Francis, along with my dear friend Marty Freund. Welcome to our show. We're broadcasting in our radio station here, 1470. You could call in anytime, 1-888-565-1470. where it's downpouring today and 75 degrees, but we could use a break from the heat. Again, if you want to call in today, that's 1-888-565-1470. And every week on Tuesdays, we're here from 4 to 5 p.m. Why are we doing this? We're here to spread awareness about the Gift of Life Bone Marrow Foundation, a life-saving nonprofit that gives patients like our 7-year-old friend Sammy, our 14-year-old friend Lewis, and our 4-year-old friend James, whom I saw recently, a second chance at life. We want to remind everyone of how special life is, how every day of health and happiness is a true gift of life. Please take stock of what I'm saying. Every day of health and happiness is a true gift of life. Before I go any further, and as a staple of this show, I want to thank my own gifts of life, people who make me smile every day and remind me of how lucky I am. To undoubtedly my biggest fan, my mom, Katie. Mom, I believe that you're listening today in Lake Worth. I love you. Thanks for listening. Say hi to Aunt Miriam and Uncle Jerry. To my biggest Maryland fans, who I say hello to with a very heavy heart. Grandma Margie, who's from Baltimore, Maryland. I hope things quiet down there quickly. I know that it's a rough time for the city. We have a lot of support there. I pray that everybody stays safe and that people govern themselves accordingly. Please, there's no more need for other people to get hurt. And Billy Beagle, who's in Rockville, Maryland. Billy, thank you for all that you do. You could be in 5 countries, 2 cities, 3 states, all in 1 week, being an ambassador, the chairman of our board, and spreading goodwill, all for the Gift of Life Bone Marrow Foundation. And to my gifts of life, my 2 boys, Nicholas, who is 12. Nick, I love you. And Patrick, who is 8. Pat, I love you. We have a big baseball game this weekend. And as mentioned, our co-host and my dear friend for 2015, and I promise we are going to get the intro changed, is my friend Marty Freund. Marty stewards all the walks, and I don't think she could have done a greater job than the one that we had this past weekend at the Chestnut Hill Reservoir. She also brings a wealth of experience to the Gift of Life community with relations, engagement, and just growing support. I'm excited that Marty is joining us, and let me just turn it over to Marty. Marty, please tell our audience what happened at our first annual Boston Walk.
It was a great day. Again, sorry for my 2-week hiatus, but go out 2 weeks and all of a sudden Barry Kaplan's back. My name's wrong on the screen.
Aside from that, though, everything's working great.
We had a great walk on Sunday. It was at the Chestnut Hill Reservoir in Boston. And BC student Kayla Hammergren met her recipient, which is a 4-year-old little boy named James. Both Kayla and James are going to be calling in, as well as a few other people who were at the walk on Sunday. And again, it was just such an emotional day to see James and his parents, Stephanie and Nick, and Kayla was there with her family, and to see, them come together and what she had really done. I mean, she said that if anyone in her family or her friends had needed this, she would hope that a stranger would come forward for them, which is why she did it for James. And it was just so nice to see them together for the first time and watch them hold hands as they ran through the start line. It was great.
I don't think that there were too many dry eyes. I don't mind saying I was extremely teary-eyed. Another family that we mentioned in our inaugural show, Cameron, was with Nick, Nick was his donor. Cameron was the patient who was in need. And Cameron was walking with his mother and father, and Cameron's now 12 years old and is a big soccer fan, so I love him for that. We saw a lot of old friends that were donors. But the power of people getting involved, and Marty, you saw a lot of donors and recipients at Chestnut Hill, and it was such a great event. It had a lot of vigor with all the university student representation.
Yeah, it really felt like one big family at the event. We had about 250 to 300 people, but it seemed so intimate, and everybody really got along and was so supportive of one another that it was such a nice, warm day. Well, warm, relatively speaking. I was freezing up in Boston. It was I think the day was getting colder instead of warmer, but
I think that was the truth. When we left Florida, it was 82 degrees. When we landed in Boston, it was about 40. But a lot of the Bostonians were running without their shirts on, and
Crazy.
you were chilly. I was cold. I think the day was warmer in feeling but colder in temperature, and there were no rivalries among the probably dozen universities that came. As you said before, we were all one big family, whether it was BC, MIT, Harvard, Brandeis, BU, Northeastern, University of Maryland, to name a few. But we had representation from all the schools, and to see little James and Kayla meet the little 4-year-old boy that's in need.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. That was in need. It's just amazing what humanitarians there are out in the world.
It's true. I mean, she donated to James for no other reason other than to save his life. She didn't know who he was. She knew nothing about him. And, she decided that this was something she was going to go forward with. She was committed to it. She gave bone marrow. I mean, a lot of people, 80% of the time, it's the peripheral blood stem cells,
Correct.
which many say is an easier donation, but Kayla did the bone marrow, which she said wasn't as painful as what she was expecting or what everybody told her it was going to be. So she's great, and she's a great representation of, somebody who committed to the process, went forward with it, didn't care whether it was blood stem cell or a bone marrow donation, and she knew from day one that she was going to save this little boy's life.
It really is an incredible story, and we've been talking about and self-servantly promoting this walk for about 3 months, and it beat billing. It lived up to expectation and then more. To see a 4-year-old, at the time 19 months when little James was diagnosed with leukemia, and now seeing him start a race, it's beautiful, it was emotional, and it was incredible. But let me introduce the donor that made this all happen, and she's right on cue. I want to introduce from Boston College, Kayla Hammergren. Kayla, welcome to Gift of Life with Greg and Marty. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. How's the weather in Chestnut Hill?
It's actually sunny and beautiful today. We got a little bit of rain last night, but we're doing well.
All right. We were just talking about you in South Florida. We're now syndicated in 6 cities, but we were telling people about the Chestnut Hill, our first annual Boston Walk for Life, and we've been promoting it for 3 months, and the promotion didn't do it justice. It was one of the most beautiful events that I've ever witnessed. And I'm going to give you the mic again. This is Kayla Hammergren, and a senior at Boston College, who was our donor, or James' donor, at the first annual Boston Walk for Life. And Kayla, firstly, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. So could you tell our listening audience when you first swabbed?
So I swabbed, I think it was April 30th of 2013. I was a sophomore at Boston College, and my friend Michael Podolsky was actually running the swabbing table and told my friends and I all to stop by after telling us all about the tragic story of his brother being diagnosed with leukemia, who unfortunately couldn't find a donor.
Exactly. And for our listening audience, Michael Podolsky was on the show before. He serves as a campus ambassador at Boston College. So after Michael told you the story and Kayla, you swabbed, did you ever believe that you would be called as a potential match?
No, definitely not. I remember vividly working out that afternoon and telling my family that I had swabbed, and my dad was concerned because he had heard it was painful, which for everyone's reference, it's not that bad at all. But I remember telling him, "Don't worry, I probably will never get picked. It's so rare that I would get matched up."
So again, if you could debunk a myth, we could get to that after. So again, when were you called that you were potentially a match, and what you hear at the time of the call?
So it was 5 months after. It was now September of my junior year. And I got a phone call telling me that I was a potential match for a 2-year-old little boy suffering from acute myeloid leukemia.
And what was going through your mind when you got called really very, very shortly after you swabbed?
Yeah, it was a very quick turnaround for that for me, but I just remember being absolutely shocked and speechless, and I was entirely surprised at the fact that I had gotten called so soon. I was excited at the idea of being able to save someone's life, but at the same time it was that, oh my gosh, this is actually happening kind of thing. And the first thing I thought to do was text Michael and tell him what happened. So,
and he must have been elated that, especially a 2-year-old boy, again, on the phone with us today is Kayla Hammergren. She's calling from Chestnut Hill, the Boston College campus, and she was the donor at our first annual Boston Walk. So, Kayla, what happened after you were a potential match? You found out that you were the chosen one.
Yeah, so after I was a potential match, they, you guys were awesome, and you sent my test kits right here to BC, and I did all my blood tests on campus, found out that I was the perfect match for James. And from there, it kind of took off of figuring out, okay, now what are my plans going forward? And Gift of Life was amazing, and working with my final schedule, because I was a student, and trying to work with my schedule and trying to figure out the best place for me to go to get this done. And it was just awesome that everyone was so willing to help me work around my schedule, but at the same time trying to work with James's schedule to get kind of all of this matched up.
It's unbelievable. So you're the chosen one, and at this point, James is around 2.5, going on 3 years old. What was going through your mind?
I was so excited that, I was going to be able to help someone, and kind of my thought process, which I've told people and over again, but I think it's important for people to hear and think about really, is the fact that you have to kind of put yourself in their shoes and think, if anyone's super important to me, any one of my loved ones, my friends, if anyone ever needed a transplant like this or needed someone else to help them, how could you not help someone else then? Because if I wanted, or if I ever needed this, I hope that someone would do it for me. So my thought process was, if I'm, chosen to help James, how could I not do that?
And you're a hero in my books. You're a hero in the hearts of many. And could you tell our listening audience a little bit about what the bone marrow transplant procedure was like?
Yeah, definitely. The procedure was, it seemed fairly simple to me because I was under general anesthesia. So I did an actual bone marrow transplant rather than the stem cells. So I got to the hospital incredibly early in the morning and filled out all the paperwork and went through all the initial tests, and then was under general anesthesia. And they just use a hollow needle in the iliac crest, which is the top of your backside of your hips, to pull the bone marrow out. I don't remember exactly how long the procedure took. I think it was only a few short hours. And then it took me way longer to actually wake up. But I was out that same day and back at my apartment with my mom, and I just kind of had a hollow ache and just kind of shuffled around because you can't move your legs as long as you used to be able to for a little bit. But it's all worth it. The pain isn't bad. You take some Tylenol and it kind of numbs it, and it's easy to deal with something like that, considering the outcome that you can see.
And we're going to get to that again. This is Kayla Hammergren, Boston College senior and a donor for now is a 4-year-old thriving, healthy boy. So, Kayla, after post-donation, Did you and James' family have any correspondence, any letters, or any type of correspondence, one way or the other, updates?
No, we actually didn't. I got my updates from Gift of Life with, the 6-month update, the yearly update, the first month update. But we actually didn't end up corresponding at all to each other. I, however, did. It was a short kind of stint for me, but I have 5 journal entries on my computer that I wrote because one thing I didn't think about when I was originally considering donating was the emotional side of it.
Right.
And so I ended up thinking about James a lot. Of course, at this time, I didn't know his name, but I remember thinking about him a lot. And the days that I did, I kind of sat down and wrote out my feelings. So I have a few journal entries of, before the donation, day of the donation, a few days after, a few times, a few months after, of just kind of like my thought process. And I thought that'd be something fun and interesting and cool for James and I and his parents both to look back on later in life, just to kind of see, what was his process really like.
Did you do a journal entry after Sunday?
No, I haven't yet. I've been so crazy busy with finals and all the news and everything like that. But I intend to. Probably sometime this weekend, I think I'll sit down and write something about it, just kind of reflecting on the day.
So let me ask you a question. When did you find out that yourself and James, the 4-year-old boy now, was going to meet?
What's your question? Sorry.
When did you find out that on April the 26th that you were going to meet?
Oh, I actually found out. This is a funny story. I was on spring break with a few of my roommates and a few of my friends here at college. We were actually down in Florida, and we were on spring break enjoying the sunshine, hanging out at the beach, and I got a phone call from, the classic Gift of Life generic number that I have memorized now. And I remember walking around the corner. It's a beautiful, very hot, very humid Florida day, and I got the phone call from Barbie telling me that the family wanted to meet and that, they wanted to do it at this event, which was, fantastic for me because the Chestnut Hill Reservoir is my neighbor. And I just remember being so excited and feeling like I was going to cry. And I hung up with Barbie, incredibly excited about what I just heard. And I remember calling my mom and just being in complete tears. And she's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I was like, nothing. I had to somehow get out to tell her that, this is good news and these are good tears, and that I was excited. But I just remember being overcome with joy.
So here's the question that everybody is waiting for. On Sunday, you got to meet your 4-year-old little partner for life, and who was the recipient that you were the donor for, and what was it like meeting little James for the first time?
It was incredible. I wasn't anticipating getting as emotional as I did, as I'm sure, anyone in that sort of situation and any other donors that are listening here today will probably be able to relate. I was overcome with emotion, and the second that Phil Lipoff started talking about James, I immediately started crying, and Marty can attest to that as she was standing next to me. I was just so excited at the idea, and finally meeting him was incredible. He's an amazing little boy, full of energy and life, and he just gets so excited, and he's so happy and fun-loving. And when we were at lunch later, he was hitting around a balloon, and just the amount of genuine laughs that were coming out of him were incredible. I just remember anticipating him not having as much energy because I assumed, he's still probably a little bit in recovery mode. But that wasn't the case at all. He was amazing, and I'm so excited to get to watch him grow up.
I think it's just so amazing what one person's selflessness could do. And I had the opportunity, Kayla, to have dinner with James, too, and he's just a bundle of energy. He's very affectionate, and this is your new partner for life.
Yeah.
It really is. It's so what could you say to people that may be interested in joining the registry or contributing to Gift of Life?
I would encourage everybody to join. I think it's definitely something that I personally thought about before I even swabbed. I had to think, do I want to join this? Is this something that, you have to think about your personality and make sure that this is something you really want to do. It's an incredible thing, and I think everyone should join. It's important to keep in mind of, the people that you can help. There's so many people out there that don't have matches in their family, so I encourage everyone to join the registry to swab. It's incredibly easy to join, and the outcome can be incredible. There are so many lives to be saved, and there are so many people that need the registry to grow.
It's just that the story was incredible. It was extremely emotional, and promise that you'll call into the show because we want to know how you're doing as well. And more importantly, great luck with finals and congratulations on graduation. And from the bottom of our hearts on Gift of Life with Greg and Marty, thank you for helping our cause, and thank you for giving a 4-year-old boy a second chance at life.
I am so happy to, be a part of Gift of Life, and thank you guys for all that you've done and for you making this possible. It's, if it weren't for people like those of you at Gift of Life, yourself and Marty and, Michael here at the BC campus, James wouldn't or might not be here today. And I'm so happy that there are, people out there that are willing to help those who can't have someone in their family help them.
Kayla, I can't thank you enough. And again, this is Kayla Hammergren. If you want to see a photo of Kayla meeting her recipient, James, please go on to our website at www.giftoflife.org. Kayla, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Kayla.
You're welcome.
It does not get better than this. We just heard from Kayla, who was the donor, who was happy, stayed committed to the program, and was happy to help a 2-year-old boy in need that's 4 years old. And we want to introduce you to Stephanie, who is James' mom. Stephanie?
Hi, Greg.
Hi, welcome to Gift of Life with Greg and Marty. How are you back in Houston?
Yes, we are back in Houston.
Has there been a weather change?
I'm sorry?
Is the weather a little warmer than Boston?
It is. It's nice. We had a sunny day here in Houston.
Is that my buddy James?
It is.
Hi, James.
Hey.
How are you? You're good? Good. So we spoke about Stephanie. We spoke before. This is Stephanie and James on the line. We spoke with Kayla before, James' donor. And could you give us a little bit of James' background?
Well, James was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia when he was just a year and a half old. He went through about 5 months of treatment. It was 4 rounds of chemo, and he was in remission for only 5 months before he relapsed with a brain tumor, at which point we learned he was going to need a bone marrow transplant. So they started looking, and I think it took about 6 weeks until they found a match, which was Kayla.
Can you believe that Kayla was only in the registry for 5 months?
I find that's incredible to me that it had only been 5 months. I just can't imagine what was going through her head when she got the call that she was a potential match.
Well, she told us on the air that she was elated to be able to help a 2-year-old boy. So she was very excited with the process. And I tell you, your little James is adorable. What was going on during the time when you found out that James was diagnosed with AML to the point of the transplant?
When he relapsed, you mean?
Yes.
Oh gosh, that was a really scary moment for us, especially because he had only been in remission for 5 months. So the chances of survival at that point were not as good as they would have been if he had been in remission for longer. It was just really scary. bone marrow transplant is really hard on the body, and we knew that. And James was only 2, so it made things even scarier. All the complications that could come with it, especially because of his age, were there was just a lot of them. There was a lot of risk involved, and it was just really scary to see our little baby go through that.
And after James had his transplant, how was the recovery going?
Transplant was tough. The chemo was a lot harder on patients than the chemo that he received before he needed the transplant. He had a lot of complications. It was really scary. He ended up in the intensive care unit with veno-occlusive disease. His liver had swollen. It just wasn't working properly, basically, and it was a tough 8 weeks or so in the bone marrow transplant unit, and so the day that he left the transplant unit was amazing. We were just so excited to have him home, and things have been so good since then that we just hope we never have to go back.
No. That's certainly our hope as well. When did you get the call that you were going to have the opportunity to meet Kayla?
I got that call shortly after James's 4th birthday in March.
And so James right now is 4 years old, and we're speaking to James' mom, Stephanie, in Houston, Texas. So the question that our listening audience is waiting for, Stephanie, what was it like for you and James to meet Kayla for the first time?
Oh gosh, I was full of nerves. Honestly, I thought I would be just a sobbing mess, but I was too nervous and just so happy to meet Kayla. She's I could just tell right away that she was an amazing person. She's very sweet, and she's our hero. Without Kayla's bone marrow, James wouldn't be the healthy, happy 4-year-old that he is today.
Stephanie, I was standing next to Kayla when you were on stage, and I could see you eyeing her. I think you spotted that she was the donor. And when Phil was speaking a little bit about her background, I saw you kind of nudge your husband, Nick, and and kind of point at her. Did you? So you kind of saw her before she came on stage, right?
I did. It was I was looking for her. I was anticipating it so much that when we got up there, that's all I could do was look and see who is it.
And I know that James and your whole family, I know James's grandparents were there, and Kayla and her parents were there, and you all went out to lunch together as one big family afterwards. How was it getting to know one another?
That was really cool. I felt like we were getting to know, extended family that we had never seen before.
Yeah, and I want to say I want to say hi to Stephanie's husband, Nick. Wonderful individual, and to Nick's parents, Bill and Julie, who I had the opportunity to meet. Stephanie, how is James doing now?
First of all, thank you. They really love meeting you, Greg. Everyone from Get the Life is wonderful, and now James is great. We're kind of taking it easy today because traveling for a 4-year-old can be a bit much, but he did great on the trip.
I'm so happy that he's doing well. I'm so happy that he's healthy. He's full of joy and he's full of vigor. He's such a handsome little boy, and as I was saying in our opening segment, that he's affectionate, and I wish you all the love, health, and happiness in the world.
Thank you so much, Greg.
Thank you, and you have to promise to keep in touch with us and call, because we're gonna next time that you're in town, we want you to come in on the studio.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And that's great. What can you tell people if they want to get involved with Gift of Life, swabbing, or contributing to help save lives?
I just want them to know how important it is and how necessary it is. How many people end up needing bone marrow transplants. I mean, it really is. It's what saves lives. It saves many lives a year, and it's so easy to do. To just go get your cheek swabbed. So please, there are many other kids out there like James, as well as grown adults. They all have a lot of life to live, and you could be the match.
So does James, know? I mean, he must know who Kayla is, but does he, understand the whole background and what she did and their relationship now?
He does not really understand. He understands at a 4-year-old level. I told him that Kayla is very special, and she got a poke, a really big poke, and they gave him her blood and her bone marrow. That made him all better.
Could I? Is James by the phone? Could I say a hello to him?
James traveled upstairs.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But
I guess he has better things to do.
Yeah. Please, on behalf of Marty and I, give him a kiss. And again, we wish your whole family, everybody, just the best of health and happiness, and truly enjoy the gift of life. And we'll be speaking with you soon.
Yes, thank you so much, Greg and Marty. It was good speaking with you.
That's great. Thank you. That was Stephanie, James recipient in Houston. What a wonderful, wonderful family. Again, this is Gift of Life with Greg and Marty. If you'd like to call in anytime, it's 1-888-565-1470. And we have Daniel on the phone. Daniel, welcome to Gift of Life with Greg and Marty. How are you today?
Is he still there?
I'm good, Greg. How are you?
Good. Is this my friend Daniel Stein?
Yes.
From Clark.
From Clark. Go Cougars.
Go Cougars. And you're a man of your word. You called in a senior, and I believe that you're going for your MBA. You play tennis, and you're going to have a degree in management.
Yes, sir. I finished classes last week, so I'm all done with MBA program.
All right. So welcome to the fraternity of MBA holders. Fantastic. It was wonderful meeting you at the Chestnut Hill Reservoir on Sunday. For our listening audience, this is Daniel Stein on the phone, a recent graduate of Clark University. And Daniel, why was what did the walk mean to you?
So I have a different experience with the Gift of Life. As you know, my twin brother Jared actually donated to Gift of Life several years ago, and he met his recipient in January. And from what I know, that was essentially the first public meeting between a donor and a recipient, and it was just so powerful for me, so emotional. It kind of came full circle because this organization is very, very important to my brother, and he is a role model of mine. So if it's important to him, it's important to me. And this past Sunday was, once again, truly an emotional day for me, as I was able to, see a donor and a recipient meet for the first time. And in this specific case, the recipient being, a 4-year-old boy who has a full life ahead of him, thanks to, a random stranger. It was truly, truly moving, and I'm really happy that I was able to be a part of it.
No, you guys were great. It felt so much camaraderie. We probably had people from a dozen universities, but it felt like one big family.
Yes. I'm very happy that Jared, of course, was able to come back from Maryland, and that we had friends in the audience from various schools who had donated, because it's very simple to donate and just help subsidize the cost of those kits. And it's really nice to just see people come out and support. And I'm happy the weather cooperated on Sunday and that we were able to have a great day.
It's great. And speaking about that, I know that we were about 250 to 300 strong. Again, we're speaking with Daniel Stein on Gift of Life with Greg and Marty. If you'd like to call in anytime, it's 1-888-565-1470. And Daniel, not only did we find this highly emotional, but ABC, a lot of Boston affiliates were there. And subsequent to our event on Sunday, there's going to be a piece airing about the Chestnut Hill event on ABC World News Tonight. Probably is going to be aired tomorrow, Wednesday at 6:30, and we anticipate over 8 million people watching the meeting between Kayla and James in a piece called America Strong.
That's awesome. That's just great news to hear. I'm really happy that I've become more a part of this organization because it is really important to me and my family, especially my brother.
And your family lived it firsthand. Your twin brother, Jared, who is fantastic and was a guest on our show before, and a fellow Terrapin, so he has a lot of love in my heart. Your family is vested in Gift of Life. You wear it. What could you tell other people that may not know as much about getting involved, swabbing, contributing funds to test kits? What would your advice to them be?
Well, just go on the website, get as much information as you possibly can. I know that my brother is holding the swabs and the drives as often as he can down in Maryland. So that's just one person down there, and he's swabbed, I think, close to 1,000 people down in Maryland. Just add your name to the registry. Get your cheek swabbed. It takes 60 seconds now, and it's really quick, really easy. And if not, there are other ways, of course, to donate to help offset the cost of those kits. But it's just, it's always great to give back. But I can't speak for Jared, but I know if you ask him, and when you ask Kayla, it's about this decision. It wasn't even a choice for them. They're very humble people, and that this was just they were doing the right thing. So it's very easy for someone to do the right thing in this case.
And you want to know something? Doing the right thing or selfless. In your brother's case, his recipient probably wouldn't be alive today. We have little James thriving. And these people don't want to be known as heroes, but they just want to help people. But their help gives somebody a second chance at the gift of life.
Yeah, it's truly, truly amazing. And I know in Jared's case, I say to him, I say, thank you. What you did saved a woman's life. And he goes, honestly, Dan, I was just doing what I had to do. He just viewed it as another decision in his life that he just said yes to. But I'm really happy that it's such a big part of his life, and it's, by association, it's become a humongous part of my life as well.
Of course, it's all family, and you're a big part of the Gift of Life family. Have two things. Number one, I want to thank you for being part of the Gift of Life family. And secondly, on behalf of Gift of Life and Gift of Life with Greg and Marty, congratulations on your achievement of earning a master's in business administration from a great institution.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Please be a friend to the show. And again, Daniel Stein, a Clark Cougar and a tennis player, thanks for everything that you did. And it was great. Actually, it was great meeting you on Sunday, and we look for more great things to come.
Of course. It was great to meet you as well. Have a good one.
All right,
Thank
you two.
you.
Keep in touch.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. The phone just keeps going on. Again, this was an emotional segment today. We discussed Kayla, a donor, saving a 2.5-year-old boy in need. They met this Sunday, April the 26th, at Chestnut Hill Reservoir, which made it all the more special for Kayla as she's a Chestnut Hill resident by proxy of being a Boston College student. And she saved a 2.5-year-old little boy that was really in critical need and was in desperate need of a bone marrow transplant. She committed. She educated herself, and it wasn't a choice for her, but it was something that she believed was the right thing to do. And as a result, a little 4-year-old boy named James is running, giving people fist pumps, high fives, and it's extremely emotional. We just spoke with, before, James' mother, Stephanie, discussing what it's like seeing a toddler, a 2-year-old, suffering, not knowing if her little boy is going to make it. And everybody's doing well. And right on our screen here is a picture of Kayla and James. I invite people to look at Ustream YouTube. And certainly if you want to see Kayla and James, go to our website at www.giftoflife.org. And lastly, we just spoke with Daniel Stein, whose twin brother Jared was also a donor. So the Stein family, we love you and thank you as well. So it's been a wonderful show. Again, if people want to see the story and they weren't able to make it to Chestnut Hill, I believe a piece called America's Strong will be airing tomorrow night, Wednesday, April 29th, between 6:30 and 7 p.m. on World News Tonight on ABC. So check your local stations, but it's ABC World News Tonight. It's going to be seen by over 8 million people, and the segment's called America's Strong. But Gift of Life with Greg and Marty wouldn't be the same if Frank wasn't on the phone. So Frank at 448, welcome aboard. Frankie, how are you?
I'm good, Greg. Greg, I got a story for you. You're never going to believe it.
Tell me, Frank.
This is friggin' believable. So, first of all, I know it's been a few weeks, so hello to you and Marty. I hope you guys are doing great. Hope everyone's doing well.
Thank you. What's the big news?
So, I'm talking to my nephew today. I got an email from him. My brother Anthony's kid, Charlie. And Charlie sends me an email yesterday night, and he says, "Hey, Uncle Frank, isn't this that group that you always talk about, you call into the radio show for?" And it's a link. And I open the link. I have to ask my son because I can't work anything on a computer. And he sends me the link. I click on it, and it's a story about how Gift of Life is at his college, Boston College, where Charlie goes. I call him Chico, where Chico goes. And the Gift of Life, you're there. I see pictures of you. I see pictures of the little kid. Unbelievable. You know, I had known it was going to be in Boston. I completely forgot that was coming up so quickly. And I get this email from my nephew who goes to the school there. Unbelievable. What a day.
What did Charlie say?
He said, I got this thing. It was from his Facebook liking of Boston College, and they had put the story out there from them. And then, you know, he sees all the other stories out there on CBS, ABC, you know, you name it, they did a story on it. So
Boston Globe.
Yeah, Boston Globe.
Oh, I was loving it. Are you kidding me? I wasn't even there. I felt like I was a celebrity. It was amazing.
It was really a wonderful event, and you felt like you were there in feeling, because you call and support us every week. But a 22-year-old senior from Boston College swabbed at Chestnut Hill. The event took place at Chestnut Hill, and she saved an adorable 2.5-year-old at the time, now 4-year-old's life. And little James is full of vigor, energy. He likes to fist pump people, high five, and hug people. And it's just such a wonderful feeling, Frankie. It really is.
It really looks like a beautiful day. I mean, the fact that the girl who donated goes to the school, unbelievable. And that kid, I mean, hey, it doesn't get much cuter than that kid. I mean, are you kidding me? What a little adorable, little man he is. Unbelievable. His parents must be, I couldn't even imagine as a parent how they feel and how excited they must have been and how emotional they must have been. For not just them, but I mean everybody there. What a day. So congratulations to you guys and for really put together what looks like an unbelievable day for a lot of people.
No, I gotta for the event, I have to tip my hat to my partner that's sitting across from me. Marty does 5 walks a year, which is soon going to be 6 walks a year, and I don't know how you outdo yourself on this one.
We have to give credit to Alec as well. Alec up there in Boston.
And Frankie, firstly, I want to say thank you for always calling and still keep it involved. This is why we need people to swab. This is why we need people to contribute funds to test the kits and save more lives. Thank you for Frankie in New York. And Marty just mentioned Alec Birkin, one of our friends and a former donor as well. And I want to send our condolences to the Birkin family. Alec and his father and family have heavy hearts today, as Alec's grandmother passed away 1:30 a.m. Today on April the 28th. We hope that she had a wonderful life. And Alec, I know that you made your grandma proud. Again, our sincere condolences to the Birkin family, and anything that Gift of Life could do for you, please always let us know. But we're certainly, your hearts are with us, and our hearts are with you. So, Marty, this has been a great show, and it's all the more reason that people should get involved, because the culmination of all this work could end up in a little baby being saved.
That's why we do it. You know, for all the lives that are saved. That's why we're here telling you every week why it's important to support Gift of Life financially, to join the registry as a donor. That's the whole reason why we do it. And it makes every day when we see a donor and recipient meet like this, every day that we work, it makes it all worth it. So
it is. We always say that great things happen, and they do, and we witnessed it on Sunday, and it was one of those aha moments in my life that I will never forget. But our work is still not done. We have our 7-year-old friend Sammy still looking for a perfect match, and a father, Marrow, that came on 2 weeks ago in Boca. His 14-year-old son Louis is looking for a match. So we have work to be done, and we're going to do it, but we need our listening audience help. If you're interested in swabbing, call 1-800-9-MARROW. Ask for Freddie, ask for Corey, ask for John. They're waiting for your call. If you're of age where you can't swab, but you want to sponsor a kit, or you want to swab and sponsor a kit, call up 1-800-9-MARROW. Ask for Anita. Each kit costs $60 to process, and we need to save as many lives as possible. It can be done. Last year, 130, roughly 3,000 over the course of our existence. And we need to keep working. We need your help. We need our help. And we really want to make Arlene's vision, Arlene's reality. So our goal at Gift of Life and Gift of Life with Greg is to find a match anytime, anywhere, for anyone that is suffering from blood cancer. And we're on our way. When we see babies' lives being saved, and Marty, this is near and dear to both of us because we both have 2 boys. Yours are 3 and almost going to be 1, right? And I have a 12 and 8-year-old. And it touches our heart when we see a little boy, cute little boy running around that might not have made it. And of any age, if we could help anybody who can't find a match within their family, let's do it. It's as easy as getting a cheek swab. And as Marty said before, over 80% of the time, it's like giving platelets. Kayla went through what's considered to be the most painful part, and she would tell you that she would do it again in a second. That maybe it's a 4 or 5 day recovery, but it pales in comparison to a little boy that's going through chemo or an adult that's going through chemo. So everybody, please get involved. Please, we need your financial support. I'm not shy to ask. If you could afford $1, $5, $10, $20, it costs $60 to test a kit. We certainly need the finances to make that happen. We promise the money is going to go to good use, and we promise the money will save more lives. So if you want to forego a cup of coffee every day for a month, that could go towards saving somebody's life. So if you want to take that challenge, join our Gift of Life family.
And also, let's not forget our next event, which is the gala coming up in New York City on Thursday, June 11th, where we're going to have the opportunity to introduce 3 more donors to their recipients for the first time. So we are continuing down a great path of more exciting events and helping more people. And that's also going to be a great event.
Yeah, that's going to be in Manhattan, New York. So again, if you're interested in attending the gala, it's call up 1-800-9-MARROW and ask for Barbie. Again, it's another great event where donors and recipients are going to meet for the first time. Marty, where could people check out events and drives in their neighborhoods?
They can go to our website at giftoflife.org. They can go online to Facebook. Everyone loves social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're everywhere.
We are everywhere and probably also going to be on ABC News tonight. I want to thank all of our guests on our show today. One person can make things happen, and we witnessed it today. It's all the reason to contribute to Gift of Life. We want our friends in Baltimore to stay safe. I hope things really resume to normal there. I want to thank everybody for listening to our show today. We'll be here same time, same place next week. Let's have a great week, and thank you for joining the Gift of Life. God bless everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to the Gift of Life with Greg. I wanted to personally say thank you to everyone who participated in today's show. And I also wanted to let you know if that you're interested in what we do here at the Gift of Life, please call 1-800-9-MARROW. That's 1-800-9-MARROW. Or you can visit our website at www.giftoflife.org. Again, that's www.giftoflife.org. Even though we're wrapping up our show today, remember, you must always unwrap the gift of life.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not